And we asked you guys at the beginning of the show, who should Jesse Minter pick to be his offensive coordinator? And right now, interlocked at 29% is Shieldhouse and Kingsbury. Webb is just below those guys at 28%. And Joe Brady, who they had in the building today, is at 13%. Jeff, let's go back to you.
Brady, my God, that's
just uncomfortable. Yeah, like that's what I think. Go ahead, Bobby. Were you going to ask me something specific?
Well, I was just going to set you up to talk about it, whether or not you feel like there was a correlation between not canceling that visit and his potential candidacy for OC.
Yeah. First of all, like, let's not take anything away from Joe Brady. I've heard really good things about how he's interviewed. He got a second interview on his own merit, and he was a candidate here. But I think he's also an impressive guy who they'd like to keep around, even as a head coach. So I think he would be an OC candidate. Jesse Minter is obviously going to have a heavy say in that. But, yeah, that's kind of the timing of it. The Raiders and how hard they pushed on Jesse today kind of made the Ravens make a call, and it forced an uncomfortable situation where they sort of – I talked to someone mid-afternoon, and Brady was in the building, so I don't think they abbreviated his interview, but I'm sure there was, they were working on multiple fronts. You're talking to Jesse Minter's agent. You're hearing that. You have Joe Brady. You want to give a fair and honest interview because he deserves it. And then there's the fact of the matter of, this is a guy you might like to keep around. So yeah, that was, the timing was sort of sped up on anything. And it's unfortunate that Joe Brady, who, earned the opportunity to interview for the head coaching job on his own merit, kind of got caught up in it, swept up in it. But let's go back to those names. Here's my question I will ask again, guys, because, I don't know the answer to it. A lot of talk about Clint Kubiak. Okay. But I think the guys that really made a high impression were Davis Webb, who's going to be a head coach somewhere. I'll say it again. It would not even surprise me if he's Raiders or Bills, but if he's available, or if Schoolhouse is available, like, would they come here as an offensive coordinator job? Yes, they'd have an opportunity to run the entire offense. It would be their show. But they're already head coaching finalists and multiple teams from doing the job they are. So, does it get to also the point where you want a more experienced guy, because Jesse is going to need help?
So I was going to put that to you, Jeff. I'd be curious on your opinion, because we just saw this with Zach Orr, where he didn't have that play calling experience. And, the role of the head coach, as much as, and again, we talked about this on Tuesday, like, there are more head coaches calling one side of the ball now. I think that's become a bigger trend than in the past. But, if you look at a guy like Shieldhouse or Davis Webb, it's not a guarantee that they're going to call the offense wherever they go. They might be influential in the scheme and the impact, but they might not necessarily be the play caller if they bring in an OC that they're connected to. So does it give you, just when we're talking about the open OC role, does it give you any sort of pause to consider a guy like Shieldhouse or Davis Webb because they don't have the experience calling plays?
It's interesting. Yeah, a little bit, but what you hear about those guys suggests they're going to be stars. And I think kind of the most successful people in life and everything are people that get dropped into the deep end and have to figure out how to swim. And those guys, everybody around them, they've sort of been surrounded by great coaches. Those guys have figured it out along the way, and people just rave about them. So in that case, if you could get one of those guys, I think it would be a home run. But I do understand the allure of having an experienced option. Look, Jesse's going to have a lot on his plate. This is all going to be new to him. Every little thing about it, being the public voice of a franchise, dealing with the media as much as coordinators deal with the media once a week. Coordinators in college are barely available in most places. That colleges are pretty strict with access rules. He hasn't dealt with the media every day, and the Ravens put a lot on their head coach with the media. Like, Eric DeCosta does not meet the media regularly. It's Jesse Minter's job. John Harbaugh was always the voice of that, and that will continue. And it's leading an entire locker room and being a manager of his coaches now. So he needs somebody on the offensive ball to say, I got. And yeah, that's not to say you don't have input, but this is your deal, because not only is Jesse Minter going to be doing all the stuff I mentioned, he's going to be leading the defense and calling the defense. So that adds to it. That's something John Harbaugh never did, as we heard so many times. So if you could get an experienced guy that you feel good about, I think, that would be ideal, but you can't overlook a star, or you can't, like Davis Webb, my God, if I hear one more great thing about him, so if you could get one of those guys, it would be a coup. But I think you'd also need to hire one of these offensive veterans to kind of help oversee things. Mike McDonald, for example, went out and hired Leslie Frazier, a guy with head coaching experience that could kind of help in a lot of that stuff and sort of guide him through some stuff.